Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute, but I'm back with some really exciting news for the new year. I just launched the Freak Unique eyeshadow palette under my own name, my Makeup by Ryno Cosmetics line. So this is the first product. I'm really proud of it. You might have seen it if you follow me on Facebook or if you follow me on my Instagram page, Makeup by Ryno. There is 16 shades that are all waterproof, all smudge proof. We've had such amazing feedback from people who are using the palette and who are loving the palette, saying that it literally lasts throughout the day, even in the hottest weather. So I have 10 matte shades. I have 4 of the cream shimmer shades, and then I have 2 powder shimmer shades or sparkly shades. The palette is named after Pete Burns' biography. Pete Burns, the crazy rock star. I really identified with the name Freak Unique as feeling like somebody who's always been kind of on the outside of society. It's also given me like a special privilege to actually be on the outside stand and looking in. And it's given me a lot of different ideas about thinking differently and not just following people blindly and just kind of believing what I'm told. And I think there's a lot of people who are realizing that and waking up to it now, that we have to be really fiercely individualistic and find what is true for ourselves, as opposed to listening what maybe your parents or the government or the church or whatever told you is the truth, and figuring out what is your truth. But this is makeup, it's not too serious, so I just want to show you how to create a beautiful Freak Unique look. There are so many looks that you can do with this palette because there are the various matte shades, the very neutral shades, so you can do something super simple and super classical. You can also do something really bold and really bright and trendy and kind of Instaglam kind of glamour by using the bold and the bright shades, or you can do something smoky and sultry and sexy by using the dark shades and mixing them up with the shimmers. So I'm going to show you the look that I've got on now and give you some inspiration for Freak Unique and how to work with Freak Unique. You guys can see that I've already actually done my complexion. I've done my foundation, a little bit of contouring and highlighting, well, maybe a whole lot of highlighting. Girl, glowing for the gods. But yeah, I've already done my complexion colors, my complexion products, and I'm just gonna do eyes now. I always start off with Dollar, which is the beigey color, and that's gonna be your base color. So I'm gonna put Dollar all over the lid just to mattify the eye a little bit. I'm going to do something which they teach you never to do, is I'm going to be using a cream product on top of the powder. So I'm going to be using a flat end brush. I'm going to dip it into a contoury kind of color, so a dull gray color, and I'm going to use that to create a bit of a crease, a bit of a contour on the eye, just on the outer corner. And this way, I'm going to give the dark eyeshadow color something to stick to, and also to just help intensify the outer corner of the eye. So I'm blending this out on my outer brow bone, just a little bit above the crease. Just want to see if those edges are tidy, blended in a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfectly neat, it's just like a starting point. Then, with a palette, I'm now going to start contouring. I always start using the very lightest color first. This color is called Burns, and I'm going to put that in the socket on top of that cream shadow. And I'm just using a very round kind of tapered brush that is kind of fluffy on the sides and is pointy at the tip. And I'm going to pull this color all the way through to the inner area of the eye socket. And now I'm going to go in with a color called R, just R, like for Riet, which is my mum's name. I had to name one color after a family member. My mother has been super influential in terms of my obsession with beauty, because my mum would get up like at 5 in the morning and go through a 3-hour makeup routine when I was a kid. And I think that super dedication that she had to her makeup routine every day and combing out every lash like with a needle, back then they didn't have lash combs, she would actually comb out her lashes with like a needle so that it doesn't clump, so that she doesn't have this like spidery clumpy mascara. So my mother's been super amazing, is a super amazing person in my life. She's my biggest supporter, and she's always been there for me. So I'm gonna use the color R, which is like a warm, beautiful matte red brown, and I'm gonna do a much smaller version of the shading in the corner. Not as much color as I applied previously. The darker the colors are, the smaller is the movements. Because once you go in heavy with a really dark color, there's really no turning back. Then it can turn into a hot mess quite easily. You rather start off with a little bit of color and then build up as you go along. So I didn't tell you yet where the other color names comes from. So the beige color, dollar, it doesn't have anything to do with money. I had a best friend called Ryno. Ryno was a makeup artist. When I was a fashion and beauty editor, I used to book her all the time on shoots as the makeup and hairstylist. She was an incredible person. She had a really super colorful life, but she was the kindest, nicest person that I ever knew. And she died in 2010, really suddenly, in a really bad way. And she literally was like my soulmate. Although it was the worst thing that had happened to me in my life up until that point, or it still is the worst thing that happened to me, and I really wouldn't want to go through something like that again, I learned a big lesson from that. And out of all the gifts that Ryno had given me beyond our friendship, it sounds terrible to say, but her passing gave me the lesson that we really don't know how long we have, and that we certainly have to make the most of the time that we have. And it was at that moment that I was like, stuff it, I'm gonna wear makeup. I look like a woman anyway, so there's no point in fighting it and trying to be something that I'm not, because the more I try to be something I'm not, the more awkward I felt, the more inauthentic I was, and the less relatable I was to other people. Even if you're not a lot like somebody else, or if you're not very relatable, if you are authentic, in that genuineness, in that realness, you find commonality, because we are all human, we all bleed the same color. So when somebody is real with you and in a very authentic way, that's what you can appreciate about them if you have an open mind. And I feel like the same way if I do that in return for them, if I can be real with who I am to them, if they have an open mind, we can find common ground. We can get along even if we are polar opposite people. So yeah, the color dollar is named after Ryno, and I know that this is like, I still don't understand or make the connection. So when we used to get tipsy, because we would get tipsy a lot and we would have gin and tonics, we would start speaking with an American accent, because she lived in America for a long time, so she had all these little Americanisms. And I used to call her Dolla in Afrikaans, which is like doll in English. And then once we started speaking American, we would call each other dollar. So this color is named after her, and also because it's beige and it's pure, and she would often wear like all white. And to me, she was absolutely a pure person and absolutely angelic. And then Burns, I told you about, that comes from Pete Burns. Pete Burns' autobiography, Freak Unique, was also the inspiration of my palette name. Because Pete Burns was somebody who was super fiercely himself and didn't care what people thought. I mean, he was a rock star who did bodybuilding and who dressed like a woman, and he really had no to give. He was literally himself. He was the funniest person, and it's such a pity that he passed away before his time. So yeah, I called the red-brown shade Burns after him, and the palette name is Freak Unique, because it really is a dedication to all the people who are different, all the people who ever felt like an outsider for whatever reason, and a reminder that people should let their freak flag fly. Okay, enough Oprah, and back to the makeup. So I'm just blending out Burns and R. I'm blending the two together so that it becomes like one color. If you're not sure that your edges of the eyeshadow is neat or tidy, I like to actually use like the light colors, like the fleshy kind of colors, as an eraser or as a softening tool. So I'll go back to the blending brush that I used earlier. Use this blending brush to just tidy the edges of the shadow. Another amazing feedback that I've had on my palette is, and this actually came from a drag queen, she said that there is zero fallout. Now, it is not a primary objective for me when I design my makeup and figure out what formulation or what kind of eyeshadows to use to go for zero fallout, because my feeling is that with powder, any solid powder that you're going to break up by putting a brush inside of it, it is going to create fallout, specks of dust, specks of pigment. But it's really cool feedback to get it from people that after they've done their makeup, they don't look like a raccoon in the worst way. So that's really cool. Other than being sweat proof and smudge resistant, it's also, it has very, very little fallout. In fact, this person said that he prefers this eyeshadow formula to Anastasia Beverly Hills. And you guys know that Anastasia is the queen of eyeshadow palettes. So that was an amazing compliment. Cool. Let's pack on some intensity, and we use the shade Madonna. I use it often. It is a very warm toned, well, it's an interesting brown because it's got elements of lavender and elements of red in it. So I'm going to use that one to really create some intensity. Every time we go darker, we use a little bit less color and we work in a smaller space. I'm pushing some of this on the outer corner only. And Madonna is just named after Madonna because she's the queen of transformation. I think it's really cool to know that even though you live one life, you don't have to look the same way and you don't have to be one person. I think that's the objective of life, is not to be the same person your entire life, but to progress and truly figure out who you are and what you like. And so many of us have this sense of obligation to society or our culture. We get taught from a young age by our parents, by the religion that we're born into, by politics, by the government, who we should be. And often, most of the time, it's understandable, people take this for granted. They go, okay, this is what I got given, this is who I'm gonna be. And you're programmed like a robot to be a certain way. We should question everything. And you might discover that a lot of the things don't sit well with you. You don't agree with, it doesn't make sense to you. Cool, so now we've really pushed that color a little bit into the edges and created some beautiful depth. So for the first time, we're going to use some of the cream shadows. I think this gold shadow, this warm shadow, is going to go well with like my eye color and my hair color. But even if you have blue eyes or light colored eyes, these kind of colors will pick up any little specks of gold that you might have. I see many times, or oftentimes, that people who have green eyes have like little specks of gold in their eye. And this will pick that up. And also when you use the gold next to blue, it'll be a contrast color, so it'll really make your blue of or the green of your eyes pop. And with gold, it just enhances brown eyes absolutely gorgeously. I'm going to use a flat brush. This one is from Ryno Cosmetics. So I'm gonna put this in this area that I left open, that I didn't apply any color. I'm gonna put my cream shadow right here and blend it a little bit outwards. I'm connecting with the rest of the shadows, creating some beautiful warmth and sparkle there. You can also apply cream shadows with your fingers because they go on really smoothly and you can really like pack it on that way. And use a very fine brush, dip it into Wild and brighten the inner corner. I'm going to be using an Urban Decay liner called Alkaline. And again, to protect my concealer and not get it too messy, I'm gonna smudge it a little bit on the outer corner only. And what I'm doing by putting the eyeliner here is creating a sticky base for my other eyeshadows to go on top of. Also gonna pop this color in the outer corner and connect the top and the bottom. So before we do anything else, I need to do some eyeliner. My ride or die eyeliner has always been Inglot Gel Pot Eyeliner. I don't even know if that's the correct name for it. 90, and it's a dark brown. I actually find the dark browns are super elegant. They give you the definition that black does, or nearly the kind of definition that black does, but it's a little bit softer, so it's a bit more forgiving. And then if you feel that the look still needs a little bit more oomph, a little bit more punch, then you can go over it with black. Eyeliner brushes you need to kind of replace regularly. They don't seem to stay neat and tidy for a long time. So this one I just actually got with a concealer kit. It's supposed to be a concealer brush, but I find that this works really brilliantly as an eyeliner. I wipe off the excess on a metal spatula. This is just something that makeup artists use to work off of. You can do it on the back of your hand. But the number of jeans and clothes that I've written off because I work on the back of my hand and then I touch my clothes or whatever and then I can never use it again because it's stained with makeup has been wardrobe limiting in my life. So I always work off the palette. Use the little cotton pad again to just open up my eye, lift the eye and draw the liner in. With eyeliner you don't have to do the entire line in one dramatic swoop. Extend the eyeliner a little bit outside the corner of your eye, just a touch beyond the edge. I like setting my eyeliner by actually going on top of it with an eyeshadow. So I'm going to take a flat, firm brush. This one is from MAC. It's so old that I can't even see what the number of the brush is anymore. It might be 212. And I'm going to dip it into the dark color called Grace, this dark brown. Then I just want to protect the under eye area and smoke up that liner a little bit. This way, when you apply false lashes afterwards, you also give a nice smoky base that's going to make the false lash or the back of the lash less obvious. It's going to look less fake. And what's left on the brush of the color, I'm going to push into this corner just to darken the crease an extra touch. And for the bottom of the eye, I'm actually going to try this orange color and perhaps the red color. The orange color is called Star. My drag alternative name was Star with 2 R's because it's drag, so it's extra. So I gave it an extra R. And then the pink color, the pink creme shadow is called Paris, and it's named after Paris Hilton and Paris, my favorite city. I'm gonna actually just use an angle brush. This one is from Gosh again. Dip it into Star. Run this along the entire bottom of the eye. And then I'm going in with Paris, and I'm just doing the outer edges of the eye, giving it a pop of sparkling pink. And then always try and connect the bottom of the eyeshadow with the top part of the eyeshadow. So pull the color up, out, and into the top section. And to help us with that, we're going to use a tiny little brush, and I'm going to dip it into the hot pink shade Gigi, which is named after Gigi Gorgeous, the super famous transsexual. This is me, my boyfriend Max, and Gigi Gorgeous last year at the Life Ball in Vienna. She was super cool to meet. It was so cool to meet like the biggest YouTuber, or one of the biggest YouTubers in the world. And actually Max and I got together because in the first 5 minutes of us speaking, we were chatting about all different things and things that we were interested in, and one of us mentioned Gigi Gorgeous, and at that moment I think we knew that we connected because we had similar interests, and so in a way it was cool for us to connect over this thing, this interest that we had in common, this person that we idolize and that we follow, and actually to have finally met her as well. I was literally at this event. Somebody said she was going to be there, and I said to Max, I wonder if she is here and if she is going to be here, and he was like, she's standing right behind you. And we had the nicest chat with her. She was really cool. So it was very special to meet us. And because of our interest in her, and Max really absolutely adores Gigi, we also named our poodle Gigi after her. So I'm going to use Gigi, my favorite hot pink color. Just protect the under eye area again with a cotton pad and pack it on top of the cream shadow. And pull the color up and out and a little bit into the top part of the eyeshadow. And then blend it in with a small blending brush. I like to edge the eyeshadow as close as possible in the direction of the top of the brow, on the outside area of the brow. And really kind of like pull it out to give you that almond eye effect. As always, clean up the outer area of the eye with Dollar, with a beigey color. And I just tidy the outlines of the shadow with that flesh tone shade. You can maybe put a little bit of Daphne, the matte black, in the outer corner. Some people are saying this color looks like a darkest green, but I can assure you it is matte black. And just pressing it into the outer corner. I'm going to be using Gosh Rebel Eyes Mascara. Mascara on the bottom lashes. So I'm going to try these new eyeliner lashes that are called After Dark. They're a limited edition and they look super fun and fluffy to me. So I don't wear like crazy ass big lashes. I normally just do the smaller ones. Let's do some gloss. Both my lip color and the gloss is from Bodyography. But the liquid lipsticks, they tend to look dry, especially if your lips aren't like 110% moisturized. So you have to pop some gloss on sometimes to make it look better. Let's do some setting spray, Bodyography, ready, set, and go. So that is my Freak Unique eyeshadow look for today. I hope you like it. I hope there's something that you find in there that you think can work for yourself as well. Like I said, you don't have to do crazy colors. You don't have to wear pink eyeshadow and glimmers and shimmers. You can go only for mattes, but I think everybody should push themselves and surprise yourself, because I've seen so many people who would ordinarily only wear natural colors, and they would send me pictures, or they would tag me in their pictures on social media, on Facebook, and say, look at what I've done, and they immediately go for like the pink and the bold and the really wild colors. So push yourself. You can look amazing and still look classy by doing something different from your regular routine. If you like this video, if you found the tips helpful, please subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook, on both Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Makeup by Ryno. And if you want to buy the palette, you can shop the palette online from Doll Me Up Fashion, as well as from Burst Brushes. I will put the links to these two websites below. You can also buy it from me on my Facebook page, and you can just direct message me and I will courier it to you. The palette is 390 Rand.